Next on Power. Nah. Next on Conversations with Cliff.
To do what was best for them.
Not the congregation.
It wasn't the congregation.
The congregation, let me say this, the congregation, most of the congregation in the churches was heavy female. It was heavy female congregation this Sunday. And a lot of them, like I was walking up there like, yeah, my husband was sitting there in the bed. He ain't had no plans on getting out the bed today.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs is bigger than God is what the message
Oh,
was.
they gonna let them have it.
The Chiefs.
The thing about it is they wouldn't have tripped. I think a lot of the pastors wouldn't have tripped if it was on Communion Sunday. That was the big thing. Like Communion Sunday, the thing about First Sunday is usually the Sunday where most people take care of their tithes. And the inevitable is when you don't take care of your tithes and you leave that money there, you're going to go and spend it throughout the week. So by the time the next Sunday come up, your tithes gonna be low. Like it's just I mean, that's just unfortunately that's the financial literacy of especially the Black community. If you got that $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 just sitting there, you're gonna find something to spend it on throughout the week. And it's just I mean, that ain't the only thing because it's communion. That's just the natural progression of like how it happens. First Sunday is usually when the largest tithing come through because that's when usually people will take care of it is the first Sunday of service.
Dang. All right, well, I hope they pray to Patrick Mahomes and
So, but I'm
what you got?
I'm a little confused. I'm perplexed.
Not perplexed.
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 So, cause what I just heard was, you know what I'm saying, that sound like some racketeer stuff, man. You know what I mean? I got to get you in here on this day at this time, cause I already know if you step out of line, if I let you go one way, it's gone. I can forget about it. But if I get you in here and make you feel a certain way, certain kind of way, I'm gonna get my way. I'm gonna get what I want.
No, well, because here's the thing: the true debt, like the people who truly understand it, they're gonna pay their tithes. The new, like, more infant tithers who are new to it, and more people, the people who are not like fully understanding of what it is, it's just a natural progression of how it's gonna happen. If you have it set to pay it on this day, and that's with anything. If they tell you if mortgage companies and rent companies be like, our systems are down, we can't take rent and mortgage payments until the 15th.
So,
and you normally pay it on the 1st. By the 15th, you're gonna be like, oh, it's another check coming. So let me go and spend what I already had saved or set aside to do this. Because I'm gonna take care of it on the next paycheck.
So I'm out of touch. I will be the first to admit I'm out of touch. So they got direct deposit set up now with the church.
Some not the church. Some people actually have it set up direct deposit. Some people actually
so like an allotment. They have like an allotment going directly to the church.
Some people have it set up in their jobs where they go to their HR department and say, here's the routing number, here's the checking number. I don't even want it to hit my bank account. Send this amount directly to this account.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's on people to do. I mean, you could do that with, that's how I set up my checking account. Like, all my money go to JC Higgins Group when I get paid. And then
dropping the gym.
I pay everything.
Dropping the gym. You dropped the gym. You better take it and run with it.
Yeah.
Better go into detail. Yeah, man. I seen a couple brothers posting about how empty the churches was, and it was because of the Chiefs game. That's why. Did they win?
Yeah, they won.
Oh, cause man, it'd be even worse if they lost. Like,
but I'm gonna say something that's even more like that is, for me, I also look at it like this. It's like you knew what was happening. And church is, if you really wanted people in the church, I don't think people, like, for example, our service starts at 10:30. Mm-hmm. On this one Sunday, would it really have hurt you to have church, have a midday service or to have a Saturday service? It really wouldn't have hurt you. But you, like, I feel like some of them, they put themselves in that position. Like, why would you put your congregation in that position? You know how they feel about the Chiefs. And you trying to make them make a decision on that. And it's like, that's not really like, don't make them feel bad on their decision when you could have been like, let's have a 7 p.m. service on Saturday night. Because you probably would have got more people like, yo, I come on Saturday night, boom, have service, and then Sunday I ain't got to worry about it and I can go enjoy the game. Or
so they would have been able to go to the church before they went to the club.
They do it anyway.
So I already been pre-saved for the night. You dig what I'm saying?
I'm good.
So everything I do tonight is already pre-saved.
But here's the thing: if you realize, like, mega churches, they do it already. Mega churches have a Friday night service, they have a Saturday night service, they have a Sunday morning service, and then they have a midday service. So they have 4 services. And it allows for people to be like, yeah, because.
So is he saying something different, or is he saying the same thing?
It depends. It depends on how good the pastor is. It depends on how good the preacher is. It depends on their staff. Because some of them, like I take, for example, I know a church in Dallas, the pastor preaches the midday service, but he has a staff of like 5 preachers that preaches, they on rotation for the Sunday morning service. So Sunday morning at 8:00, all of them are in rotation, and then at 11, the 11 o'clock service, the pastor preach. So it's like it doesn't bind people to say, well, if you don't come to church at this time, you ain't doing the right thing. I mean, think about it, especially when you think about the economics of the world. A lot of people, you know, they probably work on Saturday. They probably work on Sunday. So to give me an opportunity to come to church on a Friday, I'll take it.
Now they gonna lay that guilt trip on them come next Sunday?
Right. They're gonna try to lay that guilt trip on them. Like, don't lay a guilt trip on them when you could have done something about it. You could have literally said, we're gonna have a midday service. This Sunday we're gonna do a 12 o'clock service. The game was
all of y'all that they gonna try and lay that guilt trip on. Don't feel some kind of way, man. You own your time. You know not how much longer we got on this earth. So you do what you do because the church starts with you. Your body is the church. Treat it as such.
It's gonna go over somebody's head. But I'm thinking like JB is saying, it's a business move. We're not talking your spiritual, you're gonna get to heaven, all that. That's something else. We're talking about the business side of church, where the church folks, the leaders of the church, should have made a call like, we know it's coming next Sunday. If we want to maximize participation, then we need to move service to Friday, Saturday, or midday on Sunday, and we still get everybody in. But they didn't. They was just hoping that God was gonna win over the Chiefs.
Hey man. Hey.
Well, no disrespect to God. I don't want no smoke
down, my guy.
Yeah, I don't want no smoke with no religious folks. I'm just saying,
slippery slope down, my guy.
But here's the other thing about it is this honestly, this is a testament to where churches really haven't learned from COVID. Because here's the reality. It's not that they didn't go to church. They just now have the option of going live. They can go somewhere on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. They can go somewhere and have church at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they could be watching they can have service midday on their own. Like, people have a choice now, and you messed around and didn't give them that choice.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's like, think about it. That's the same thing that's why a lot of churches struggled when COVID happened. They were not online. They were like, you got to be in the building. And then these churches who've been doing it online, they were like, this ain't affecting us. The only difference is I don't have a group in the church with me. But I've been preaching to people online, so this ain't no problem to me.
Right.
So when something like this happened, all right.
Yeah.
And you messed up. You messed around. You don't have a give a fly. You don't have a cash app for your church. You messed it up. You did that to yourself.
Yeah, you got to change the time.
People who truly understand it, they said right there at church, they said right there at home, had their service, tithed, sent their tithes their electronic way, and it ain't bothering them. It ain't affecting them one bit. The ones who got upset are the ones who I could go and look at them. They don't have no online presence. They don't have no Facebook Live. They all their tithing is still done through an envelope and a check and cash. And it's like, you did it to yourself. You can't blame nobody but yourself on what happened.
Yeah.
What else can't you keep track of with that envelope and that them ties that came through the envelope versus them ties that come through the bank, the wire transfers?
It's more efficient if you do it electronically, because doing it by paper.
It's more efficient for tracking purposes for the individuals that's trying to keep an accurate eye on what comes and goes.
Exactly. That's
what I was alluding to when I said that about the envelope. You know what I mean? Everybody's aware of, the technology of today. However, there are those that do what they do for specific reasons. And if we're going to talk about the business, let's talk about the business.
It's the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? They taking that. I mean, and this ain't for all churches, but some churches have been having a building fund for the last 50 years, and we ain't seen the update in the building.
Yeah, they're not gonna stand too long.
Yeah.
Oh man, it is what it is. And them churches gonna stand as long as the a member from that family that run that church continues to go there.
No, not when it's just you. When
Trust
you
me,
and the
man,
pastor.
I'm talking. If you go through the average community, and you can have churches right next door to each other.
Well, there's a lot of them.
You know what I mean? Why?
Yeah.
Because this family run this church and this family run that church. We ain't gonna do this way, and I like this preacher, so this preacher gonna preach over here, and this preacher gonna preach. The divide in the community starts right there.
Yeah.
Because this is what the community is calling their foundation, their base, their guidance. And it's a division already in that.
Yeah. Some churches that sit right across the street from each other, know both of the pastors. And dang, I never looked at it like that.
Well, some of that's a little bit. That's part of the reason. There's another part to it where the way in which the churches ran, if you you think about churches who are right across the street from each other, and neighborhoods have two different, why don't all of them go to the one church? It's because certain people are in certain places in their life and they're walking with their religion, and some people are not there. I could give many examples of where you go to one church and the pastor, they understand that their congregation is a fairly new walk in their belief. And so they have to teach and preach differently than the pastor on the other side of the street, where most of their people are deep into it. And so they can go a lot deep into their teachings and so forth.
It's like an indoctrination.
Right. So you gotta realize some of that. Then also you gotta realize some people, I know, for example, churches, I always look at, most of the time you can match the church with how their pastors living their life. If you have a pastor who's been married for 20, 25 years, you probably gonna find that congregation a lot of married couples are in their congregation because their pastor can give them guidance on walking through life in a marriage, whereas other ones are like they're going through different things. But then that's also, how does the pastor, if a pastor know what they're doing, they put themselves, they staff their ministerial staff with all the right people. Like my pastor, she's not married, but she has two of her preachers. They're a married couple, and they've been married for over 20 years. So when you see a lot of married people in our church, they usually go to those ministers for marriage advice. So it's a lot to it, but to the point of what Unc said, you're right. Some of it is because of just straight up families. Like the family, like I know, and this is a good example. In my church, there's a family that literally they have brought about numerous pastors across our entire congregation. There are 6 siblings, and all of their family go to that same church. So it is a deep-rooted family-tied church, but it is also meant for church ministries of younger, of married couples. Now, one of the opportunities in our church, one thing that we don't get a lot of young people because we don't have a lot of young presence in the ministry. It's me, but I'm more technology, so you don't really see me in the forefront as much. But it's a church right up the street who you can find most of the people in my age group are at their church, and that's because the congregation or the minister, he focuses and he makes that priority. He makes it more relevant for them. So
wouldn't that be the shift?
It go deep.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be the shift for just like not even just from church, but like all these organizations? You need the youth. You can't, you know what I'm saying? We're getting older. So we got to turn and say, matter of fact, we went to one of our brothers, we went to his church last weekend, and I remember them preaching on, you know what I'm saying, reaching back for the youth and bringing them in because they're the future. So in all organizations across the board, you can't make it with what you got. I mean, you can try, but eventually you got to get younger so you can keep going, keep that legacy going.
Yeah, a lot of them say that it's easier said than done, though.
It is, and that's with anything. However, when no matter what it is, you know what I mean, once it resonates with an individual, they're going to buy into it and they're going to support that because they believe whatever that is. You know, there is something about this circumstance, situation, organization, whatever you want to call it, you know, that makes me want to be better than I am.
It's kind of off topic a little bit, but when I talk to people who don't have kids and say I don't want kids, I'm good, I'm cool on it. I'm getting that idea now, like you literally killing your legacy, and I don't say it to them. I just say, oh, okay. I mean, hey,
exactly, to each his own.
Yeah, but you know that when you gone, that's it.
Yeah. So, your life, your life was to live on through your, you know what I mean, because you're tied in through your siblings or your nieces, nephews. A fraction of you will thrive.
I'm about to say most people who say that are, I find I find most of the time when I hear people say they don't have kids, they don't want kids, so on and so forth, they got a sibling who has a kid and they see that's gonna be their legacy. They okay with their legacy being lived through their nieces and nephews and so forth. I rarely find a only child who's like they don't plan on having no kids.
Yeah.
Rarely.
Yeah, because they know what that lonely feeling is. They I want all the smoke. Give me all the kids. Yeah. All right, that makes sense.
Most of the time. Now I know a few of them who they're like, I don't want no kids. They ain't got no kids, and they ain't got no siblings.
Yeah. Selfish as hell. Childish too. But I ain't mad at me.
That's the only child syndrome.
Yeah, it's a real thing, man. Have y'all ever been with somebody that was an only child and was just super selfish with everything. Like, their parents did everything for them. So it could be a friend, a girlfriend, whatever. Have you ever been with somebody like that? How long did it last? Because I know it didn't last. Couldn't have.
It lasts for a minute. I think the thing about it is it really runs its course more further down, because like I dealt with a female who was the only child, and like she had issues with like my family, like me being around family. Cause she had a huge problem, like being the only child. She really didn't have to deal with like the family drama, because not even her being the only child, but like you think about her mom, it was her mom and her mom's brother, her uncle. So it was really only two of them. And then you think about her grandma, it was like just the grandma. So like it was just like she was used to everything being like, when she was born, everything, all the energy went to her. So what the issue really happened was like when I would want to go to like family functions, she was like, why you like being around all that drama? And I'm like, it's not really drama, because it's family. Like all families have those fallouts and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Your family just ain't really have it because it was so like small. But I mean, you over time, she felt like, you know, I can't be with somebody who don't give me they don't give me enough attention. I'm like, nah, I give you enough attention, but you was just used to all the attention.
Right. Yeah. No. Like, who don't have the drunk uncle in their family, or the crazy cousin?
Right.
Or, you know what I'm saying?
Crazy cousin. You already know everybody got a family member that's we gonna say it radio friendly. They're a substance abuser. they abuse substances, and they don't know, they can't control themselves.
Dude, I had a cousin come to my great auntie funeral with a water bottle, and everybody in the family knew that water bottle did not contain water. And people who outside, they just didn't understand why we never let him drink the water. And it's like the family never said, well, it's vodka, so we ain't gonna let him drink vodka in the church. But they sit up there like, they trying to understand, why y'all won't let that man drink some water?
Unc had to get the hanks off on him, man. Y'all would sad enough to keep the hanks off on him. Unc had to get them off on him.
Wait. Y'all, do y'all got the bougie uncle and auntie in your family?
The bougie?
Yeah.
I had an auntie who would not give me a job. Like she was a owner. Like she was a hiring manager for a company. She gave all my other cousins jobs. She would not give me a job.
What you do to her?
And what I found out was, she was like, well, I ain't give you a job because you ain't needed. You only wanted a job in high school just so you can have money to play around with. Your mama and your daddy took care of you.
Damn.
I'm like,
damn.
That's
cold blooded. Damn, auntie, I could have used that money to take a step forward for myself. You know what I mean? I could have been progressing myself that much further along, but because you thought I was good enough where I was, I didn't need nothing else.
It was crazy.
But who are you? So okay, you just brought about a question. Who are you to determine my worth?
Like, who gives that authority? Like, what did you see in me to say, I'm not giving you a job because your parents are or I'm not just, I don't like you. That's kind of cold, man.
That's real cold, and that's the first thing a lot of individuals will say is, you know what I'm saying, I don't got no problem with nobody, I ain't got nothing to say about nobody, but if this was me, XYZ and 1, 2, and 3, The moment you put that button there, this whole situation got funky as fuck. You dig?
It just changed. Yeah, it just changed. It just changed.
You just that's a different way of saying I'm finna pass judgment on how this was handled.
Yeah.
Therefore,
and imagine what that do to a teenager. Like that kind of like that'll mess you up because you be like, damn, what I do to you? Like, I'm just a kid. Like, I'm seeing all my other cousins hit the age of 13, 14, they got the job, and I'm like, all right, bet. I go and they be like, can't hire you. Can't hire you.
See, but that would make the average teenager say, okay, bet. It can go both ways. Let me back up. It can go one way to where you's like, all right, well, that's how she moving. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna act just like she act going forward. So that next generation come behind you, or you know what I'm saying, whoever, friends, you're not gonna look out for them. Or you can do the reverse of that and say, I'm gonna do the opposite. Like most of us say, we're gonna do the opposite of what our parents did and end up doing exactly what they did.
Same thing.
It's wild.
That's the story. That's the story of the two brothers who were raised in the house with a drunken father. One never picked up liquor because he said, I saw my dad and I saw what it did to him, and I never want that to happen.
Yeah.
The other one say he a drunk because he's like, I saw my daddy and that's how I coped. That's how I got through stuff. So it's like we could be in the same household and you come out different. People don't understand, like,
right.
Your psychology is a real thing.
It is. But either way it goes, at the end of the day, you are responsible for how you turn out.
Exactly.
You alluded to that, you know what I'm saying? A lot of us do the same thing that our parents did. You know what I mean? We swore down we was gonna do things differently, but as we got older, we see why they did what they did when they did it, because everything is done according to time. And if you don't understand it in that time, all you have to do is just wait till you encounter that situation, and then you'll see. And you already got the answers on how to address whatever it is because you've been there, but you haven't done it.
So I'm gonna push back on that just a little bit because you're responsible for you at a certain age.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you are not given the tools to get there, then I shouldn't be 40 still blaming my mama and my daddy for
you should not.
Now, at some point,
because like you said, you are responsible for you.
Right, but if I wasn't given the tools from a young age up until now, I'm just supposed to suck it up and just drown?
No, it's on you, brother. It's on you because you are responsible for you. You know that there's a certain way you want to move. So I need to seek this knowledge. I need to seek this information. Who is doing what I'm trying to do? And you have to be humble enough within yourself to say, hey, look, I see what you're doing. I'm interested in that area of adventure. Yeah. Are you willing to enlighten me as to how you do what you do?
You got to 22 in my book.
22 is the cutoff. You gotta stop blaming the world and the parents, and I got you. That I can accept that, because anything after that, then you doing it to yourself.
You got up to 22. Either the school of hard knocks taught you something, college taught you something, and you ought to, at that point, you need to make a decision. You need to pivot.
Gotcha. All right, I'll take that. So 22 is should be the turning point of, all right, I got to stop blaming everybody else for my faults and failures.
If you come to me for advice and you 23 years old and you say anything where my parents did this, that, I'm like,
we got to push that narrative down a whole lot further, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We're just saying 22 is good now because we're in this area of life. But if you go back to pre-segregation, a child, you know what I mean, a 3-4-year-old had to understand certain things.
Different times though.
Different time, but same time.
Right. It's true. I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. When I say 22, my mindset says at the age of 22, it's no longer anybody else's fault but yours.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I get like there's some kids that like, you know, they had a different life and so on and so forth, and they had to go through some stuff, and a lot of times you're bound by some of the things, restrictions that you cannot do until you're an adult, until you are legally an adult, which is 18. And then from 18, you still got to learn. Like, even if you break away from those habits, or you're able to get away from them, and, you know, maybe you are living with a family member, or, you know, you're not living the best, you know, conditions and whatnot. That's 4 years for you to kind of like, all right, let me figure this out. Because, you know, you can, I mean, I think, again, go back to social media and society, and when you have these expectations of what life is supposed to be,
yeah,
you gotta, you know, you gotta just really, to what Uncle was saying, is like, you gotta determine your value, and at that point, you gotta make some decisions and move forward. So at 20, when you 23 years old, you come to me, mentoring or anything, and you like, you know, well, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. When did it happen to you? It happened to me at 17. All right, that's 5 years. What have you done since then?
What have you done since then?
Exactly.
Wallowed in your pity?
Are you stuck in that moment? Have you allowed that one incident in your life to determine your life?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Or did you just say, oh, well, I appreciate that scar. I'll never forget that again. You know what I mean? And as you transition through the rest of your life, you start seeing things start adding up the way it did when you got that scar, and you readjust your course. You readjust your course of action. Therefore, you're keeping yourself in line, because you understand I'm attaching myself to some of the things that I said I didn't want to be attached to anymore.
So how do you what advice do you give somebody in our age range that still playing victim? My mom and daddy wasn't there. This dude hurt my heart. This chick did this to me, and they just bitter, negative about everything. Do you have any advice for them, or you just let them rock?
Yeah, I got some advice for them.
It's about to be something slick.
Yeah, you know it. When you get out of your own way, it's gonna be a happy day.
Simple. It's simple as hell, but yeah, it's that.
It's really that simple. You in your own way at this point. Because anytime anything happens to you, you go back, you revert directly back to that. Oh, I can't get promoted at my job because my parents ain't letting me go do this. Oh, I can never find a good person because I never find a good man because all me and the dogs. No, you picked them dogs.
That part.
You kept going to the kennel.
That part.
And
I understand where you're going and what you're attracting where you're going. You know what I'm saying? And that changes as you transition through life as well. But you can also sit back as a youngster and say, hey man, I see the way this chick or this dude moving, you know what I mean? And they got a pretty copacetic life. Everything is kosher over there, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try and check that out. But that's to those who observe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Observe before they do. You know, and then we have those that do then observe what the fuck they did.
Backwards. Yeah. Most teams ain't doing that. They don't care. They don't care about none of that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, we had a good conversation, man. Go slide up out of here. Catch these late games.
Yeah.
For some of y'all need to go catch church or something.
What are you talking? JB, you got another service?
All right, talking about JB.
You can go to YouTube. I promise you, there's plenty of services you can go listen to.
Pull up old TD Jakes service.
Look,
is Creflo still preaching?
We having church right now.
Sunday service. And boom, he out of here. Hey, yo, if you reach this part of the episode, man, appreciate you for tapping in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. that was our it's time to go. JB
Yeah.
dipped off
That's
the
that
camera.
warning. That's that warning. You know what I mean?
The 30-second warning. Hit
it.
you with the church finger. I'm out.
Time to go.
We'll see y'all next week, man. Peace.
Peace.
Conversations with Cliff. I'm a free-thinking spiritual beast. We can keep it ratchet or classy. I'm here for the conversation.